Hey guys, it's Ivan from the IP address, and I am extremely excited about tonight's interview. Tonight's interview is with a good buddy of mine that I have known for many years. His name is Brian Diemar. And Brian and I go back in the day. I'm just going to say it like that. And he's a musician and a former world class athlete. We're going to talk a little bit about that. He been in multiple bands. He's done some producing, engineering. He's just done all kind of stuff, and all of this around running a animal rescue farm. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Brian on. Brian, hello.
Hello, Ivan.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited
Old
about tonight.
when you say old friends, very old friends.
Very old friends. So we go
Yes.
back to St. Paul's in Alabama on the Gulf Coast. And I want to say eighth or ninth grade. Is that right? Is that
No, I think it was like more like seventh grade.
wow?
I wasn't there in ninth grade. I was
And
gone already.
and the weird thing is about you and me is that we have this kind of weird, almost parallel path kind of thing.
Yeah.
We kind of lost track of each other after you left. You went off to you left the town. You moved to another state. And as did I, and but we ended up being in some of the same areas at the same time, but we didn't know it. We were both in
No.
Chicago, I believe, at the same time. Where did you go after
Yep.
Mobile?
I moved to New York
Okay,
to live and train, and then Chicago.
and then Chicago, and
Yeah, and then ended up at UCLA after that.
ended up in UCLA. And so I think we had figured out that maybe we were in Chicago at the same time, or it was
I believe
at
so.
another time, but we were probably at the same shows. We were probably around the same areas. We knew some of the same people, but we just never crossed paths. And that's just, I think that is just the,
Medusa's. Did you go to Medusa's, Exit, and
oh
Crowbar?
my gosh, I've still got in my wallet. Holy cow, I don't have my wallet with me.
Oh, do you
I've
have
got,
your Exit or
I've
Crowbar
got my
card?
exit card, man. I still have, shout out to Exit. I still have my exit card. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I closed Exit down many, many nights. Started out on the first floor with the old school, Iggy Pop punk rock guys, and then ended upstairs with the techno dark wave stuff, And I did that with a buddy of mine named Aaron, who everybody knows as Beer Truck in Denver, but he lived in Chicago, and we closed that place down all the time. Medusa's, oh my gosh, yeah,
Medusa's.
all
Mine
of
was
them.
Crowbar. Crowbar was my favorite
Crowbar
place.
was a good one. What was that one that was in Wicker Park? Uh, it was kind of beat up. It was just beat down. And Dreamers. Did you ever go to Dreamers?
Not really. That wasn't my hang.
Dreamers was awesome. They played everything. I saw a bunch of different kind of bands there, and it was cheap and it was loud. It was hot. It was sweaty. All that good stuff. That
I
you
remember
like.
shows at the. Did you go to Aragon Ballroom?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The shows. Yep. Saw great shows there. Some great
Metro,
shows.
Cabaret Metro. We did that.
Metro. Yep. Smart Bar. Yep. All
Smart
that.
Bar. Now
I'm
Smart
sure.
Bar.
We probably bumped in. I probably spilled a
You
beer on you.
probably spilled my drink, and I was like,
I
"Who is
probably
that?
did.
Who is that dude that
Who is it?
just bowing up on me spilling my drink?"
That's right.
Actually, the truth probably be told, I probably spilled your drink. So let's. so, so now you've been through a lot of things. We're going to kind of jump around a little bit, but you are currently the biggest thing that you do is music. So tell me about some
Yeah.
of the music stuff that you do and have done.
Um, well, it's been a long journey for this,
Sure.
coming from all the stuff in Chicago to then after college in LA, starting my own stuff, doing film and TV has
Okay.
been my kind of bread and butter. Um,
Now, are you doing
but
songs? Are you
going,
doing soundtracky kind of stuff?
well,
Instrumentals?
the goal was to be score.
Okay.
That was the ultimate, the first goal, and then I went with my agent, June Street Entertainment, whose parent company at the time was Gorfrain Schwartz,
Okay.
and they represented Elfman, Williams, all the big ones, right? But it's scoring's a catch 22. What have you done? Well, I got to do something to do. It's
Right.
catch 22. So I did music cues, songs, or just whatever I could do, and then ended up getting a couple low budget scoring gigs. That got my chops wet.
Okay.
Then I ended up doing the scoring, music cues, and even the music supervision for a Showtime series called Free For All.
Okay.
So I mean, I was the entire music department basically for this animated show on Showtime called Free For All. It was a really weird, twisted, dark animated
So
show. Showtime's first animated series.
so how does that work? So if somebody says, okay, I need this music, I'm going to call this guy, and they call you, and how does that conversation go? Do they say they have something in mind? They leave it up to you? How does that work?
Well, it all started with this is what we have in mind. We want to be alternative, cool, dark, twisted, everything you do, the industrial,
Right, right.
my whole background. So then when we started doing that, they realized this is how TV and a lot of film works. That's not what they wanted.
Okay.
So, I gave them some of that, and it's like, well, that's way too dark. Okay, so we lighten it up a little bit. Okay, that's still a little too twisted. So the really cool industrial cutting edge shit turns into, well, we want it to sound like Blink 182. I'm
Okay.
not, that is exactly what they said.
Sure. And then you
So
just
where
say,
the theme, where the theme song is, I ripped off Blink 182
well, there you
because
go.
I had enough of it. I just was like, my hands are up in the air. I'm like, here you go. There's Blink 182.
They're all shocked that some guy that cut his teeth in Chicago is all like dark and twisted and electronic. That's too funny.
Yeah, I know.
That's really funny. So but then that leads to another, contact and another contact. Is that kind of how that works, or is it?
Yeah, and just continued to do, lots of cues and scoring here and there, but lots of music cues. I mean, I just do that's what I do for film, TV, video games. Songs, cues, whether it's 30 seconds, full songs, whatever it is. That's what I do, and at the same time, started getting more into the production side of music and producing, industrial, electronic, more of those kind of bands, and a couple rock bands, and which led me to hook up with my partner now, who we've been partners for now a decade, Toby Wright.
And that, yeah, Toby.
Uh,
Now, so when you guys work together now, does it? How do you guys split up the work? Who kind of does what?
we kind of all do everything. Like right now, I'll like if I have a song, come up with a song, send it to Toby. If it's an idea, we'll send it to one of our singers or one of the artists we're working with.
Okay.
And then once we get down to vocals, where Toby is the vocal master. I mean, he's just, I mean, if you've listened to Alice in Chains and, Korn, all that stuff that he's done,
Right. Yeah. He's done a ton of
amazing
stuff.
with, oh my God, 3-time Grammy winner with, some amazing records he's worked on and artists. But I'm not very good with vocals. I'm like, if it sounds good, I just don't know how to convey to vocalists,
Gotcha. It's
as well
sensitive.
as well as it is. He's much better at that for sure. So he works with the singers, and then once he's got the Pro Tools sessions, he'll add instrumentation and things to it as well. So we're both doing production
Okay.
on the record, and then he is the master at mixing, so he mixes it. I've mixed records, but nothing like what he can do. I mean, he's
And
got amazing ears.
and you guys are working with talent that's basically, I mean, none of it's or it's not often in the same town, right? It's from wherever. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, right now we have, with our own project, Bells and the Machines, Jane, singer Jane, is in uh, Germany. He's in
okay.
Berlin. So we trade files. Um, we just finished a really cool record with this amazing singer, Naomi Holtang, and she's in Iowa, and this project called Echo Range, which is like all pop industrial rock kind of thing. Really cool. And same thing, she went in the studio there, and we got files. Um, our newest artist, Violet Orlandi, who is in Brazil,
And she's got a big
and
big presence on YouTube, right? She's got
yeah,
like
she does. She is phenomenally amazing. Just phenomenally amazing. Um, the difference is Toby's been doing vocal sessions with her over Zoom, so they do Zoom vocal
oh
sessions
wow.
together.
That's
Yes, so
that is
it
cool.
works. It's working out pretty good. So he's basically producing the vocal sessions with her.
And then
Um,
he tracks that into Pro Tools, and then you guys kind of add more stuff.
she's tracking it,
Okay,
um, in her place, and then she sends the WAV files over.
gotcha, gotcha. And that's what.
So I mean, yeah, in this day and age, you don't need to be in the same. I mean, there is something to be said for a whole band together in the
Sure,
studio and working. Love it, but you don't have to. I mean,
right,
it's not a necessity. You know, like
gotcha.
we do country stuff as well. You know, Toby's in Nashville, and when we do the country stuff, with our partner who we do country stuff, Milton Brown, who Milton wrote Every Which Way But Loose.
Wow.
And oh, he's amazing. And I mean, he's written from everybody: Glenn Campbell, the Righteous Brother, everybody you can imagine, Dolly Parton, whoever, and Jimmy Buffett. That's like one of his buddies. But when we do the country stuff, that's a band.
Sure.
There's an artist and a band around it. There's a little different feel, but with the electronic and the industrial and the even what we're doing with like alternative and alt pop stuff, it's not a necessity. It really isn't.
And you've been in this long enough to see just drastic changes both in just how bands work together and how bands perform and how bands are produced and how they make it. It used to be you played the crappy clubs or you paid to play in the crappy clubs, especially in LA, known for its pay to play kind of thing. If you were lucky, you got picked up by a small label, and if luckier, then a major would come and buy you out if there was any traction, and so forth. And that model almost doesn't exist anymore, right? I mean,
No,
that's
my band, we got picked up and had a development deal, which does not exist anymore. I mean, we're talking a long time ago.
right.
We got a development deal, and they give you, a nice chunk of change for the year, and go and record and hone your craft and come out, and they didn't do anything with the once we had the finished songs, but there's no development these days, and that's one thing Toby and I with our company and with our F3 that we want to do is develop artists.
Right.
Give them a fighting chance. Let them work their crap out for a year. And go and hone their craft and go play or sit in a studio for a year and just really really get their craft dialed
Sure.
in. I
But
mean,
don't
today labels they just want a finished product. Here, done. Here you go.
right. And don't you think though, like one thing that's different, it's certainly different for me. And it's my mindset. It's still my mindset. In my head, it's still 2 inch reel to reel. I think linearly. And, but nowadays, for a very modest amount of money, um, you can get some pretty decent gear that would stand up to gear, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And doesn't mean you're going to automatically know how to spin the dials, and it doesn't mean you're automatically going to make good stuff, but it does give musicians opportunities that just didn't exist when I first started out in the late 80s, early 90s.
No, the other side of the coin though of that with technology is that everybody that buys like my Mac here has a garage band. So everybody can be a musician. And
Right.
it doesn't mean you should. So
With great power comes great responsibility.
that
But
is that is correct.
but one thing I've noticed, and it's interesting that you bring that up. It seems like with the COVID stuff, I think everybody spent more time on the internet watching videos, watching streamed shows, watching all kind of stuff, and I see a lot of talent out there that's just not polished. Like maybe they're not aware that GarageBand can do. GarageBand's actually pretty robust compared to what it was when it first came out. Or that they could buy Reaper, which is another, for those of you who don't know, it's another recording software for $50, or whatever. They may not be aware of that, and I feel bad because they're out there doing it, and there's some really good talent, but they don't know how to make it polished. They don't know how to make it sound good or how to get it ready. They're just recording themselves with the most basic materials, but some of it still sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and, today, I mean, well, the big thing for me is also, compressed audio.
Sure.
The kids today too, most people don't realize that. I mean, I don't care what anyone says, vinyl, even CD, but vinyl, cassette, the sound quality, it is a huge difference. And
Sure.
not only are the kids today listening to, MP3s, and now, mastering for MP3. Now you master for MP3.
Right.
But they're listening to it on, the little earbuds that have, like, that much dynamics. So, when if you go back and listen to, like, a Boston record, which for me, that's like when I mix a record, that's what I want it to sound like.
Sure.
Old Boston. That the dynamics, this and that. And if you look at today's music too, it's pretty much,
Oh,
it's
there's
linear.
there's there's been tons of discussion on the what is it called, the sonic maximizer. That's a
Oh,
plug-in, and you're familiar with it, I'm
I
sure.
know.
And it just
Yes.
like it just there's just no dynamic. And I will raise my hand, guilty as charged. I've over when it first came out, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was like, holy cow, I can take my crappy mix and put it through this, and it sounds amazing. And that's just how I was. I mean, I didn't know any better, but now I feel like I'm a little better with it. I'm a little better with easing
Yeah.
up on the compression and easing up on. Matter of fact, I don't use the maximizer anymore. But I will do multi-band compression and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's overused, and you're right. We are using this nice equipment to what we do, and we're writing for MP3s that are going to be played on MP3
Yeah.
players or streamed and compressed again. So our compressed
Yeah.
songs are going to be compressed again, so they can end up on an MP3 player that's going to compress
Yeah.
into ears. So
Well, that's, using it like I always use, I'm at 24-bit, 441 24-bit. But if you use like 96 and 192, whatever you're using, it sounds awesome. But then, yeah, it's going down to whoop, you
I
know,
got to say,
it,
man, I'm gonna
you
call
need,
you out. I've kind of progressed, man. I know you still do CDs and stuff, but I've moved on to 48. I'm kind of cool like that.
I'm stuck at 24, 44, 124.
I am
Stuck at
actually
it.
gonna play a song that you are a part of here. Let me pull this up. And this is a song from your band that you're in now with multiple people, Bells into Machines. And the song is called Your Crime Scene, My Career. Set this up for me. Tell me what this is. Tell me how Bells into Machines even came about.
So it started. Oh man, we like talked about it probably like 6 years ago, I think. Lee Popa, Ministry, Killing Joke, all that stuff. Chris Connolly from Ministry, Revco, whatever. Paul Barker, same thing. And Toby and myself, and then also Yane. And it just was something that kind of progressed into, from, hey, let's do a couple tracks, to let's do an EP, to let's do a full record. So we did full record, and then it was, hey, let's also add a 21 track remix record, which is completely pretentious and ridiculous. But we thought it was funny to, throw out a 21 track remix record. But this was actually the first song Chris did.
Well, let me play
Um,
this, and we can talk more about it on the other side. But let me go ahead and hit the play button here. Whoop. How about I start it at the beginning? Yeah, that's awesome. That's just
That's a cool track. I like
that is
that
a
one.
great track. What are you talking about?
Thank
That is
you.
amazing. That's it's good songwriting. It's good lyric writing. The production on it is, I mean, it's right there. It's got everything I like in production, which is I can, if I either close my eyes or just kind of look away and just kind of concentrate on any given sound, I can hear it. There's
Yeah.
nothing lost in the mix, but there's nothing in the wrong place or the wrong volume. Does that make sense? What I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, that's the mix is all Toby. That's Toby.
It's who. So who? How do you guys like develop these tunes? Does somebody send a riff out?
That yeah, I mean I had the basic track,
Okay.
and then um Chris actually was the first person to get it and lay down vocals for it. I downloaded his vocals, uploaded in my session, then sent it off to Paul. And Paul put his weird twisted magic on it too, bass and other stuff, and then um, off to Toby, and then Toby put some stuff on it and then mixed it as well. So we all kind of yeah, I had the basic song. That's how it kind of works. I have the basic song, and usually we get the vocals done first and
Who
then send it off.
who decides, or how do you guys decide? I got a buddy of mine that we were in a band together, Usher House. His name is Robert Hyman, um, and he's actually the one that kind of turned me on to Murder Inc., which Chris Conley sang for.
Yeah,
But how do
yeah.
you guys? He and I have written some stuff online, and the hard part is, when are you done? When is the song done? Like, and I'll say, okay, I feel like it's done, and then he'll tweak something, and then that'll make me think, well, he's right, but that makes me want to do something else. So how do you guys say finito? This thing is in the can. We're done with it. What? How does that work?
So Bells was pretty easy with all the songs because it was like, okay, I did the song, pass it off to Chris or pass it off to Yanni, and Yanni would lay vocals, and I'd get it back, pass it off to Paul, and our drummer Chris Rose, who's in the UK by the way. Our drummer's
Okay,
in the UK. He's not
right.
even around here either. Baddest ass drummer you ever heard too, and he sends it all back, put it all together, and it was cake. It was there was no really going back and forth. Um,
Do you
there
then
was
send it
no,
to
oh, I want,
Do you then send it to Toby and Toby mixes it?
yeah,
You say he does, and you
yep.
guys have worked well enough together that you're like, I just trust what he's going to do. He
Oh, absolutely. Well, Toby's great too because and Toby will do whatever on the instrumentation, and we always like, yeah, that's awesome too. But mixes, he'll send a mix to us. Everybody gets a say. Hey, I want maybe this little tweaked or that little tweaked. And no one takes anything personally. No matter what. I mean, if I write something, if somebody comes back and says, I just don't like that piano line or whatever it is, I'm whatever.
And what do you
We'll try
play? What do you
anything.
actually play? What is your main focus when you play an instrument?
I mean, kind of everything except well, drums are with the fingers.
Okay, you
Um,
program or
my
tap,
real my real drumming is very you know linear and lame. I can play. It's
quantize,
very yeah.
quantize.
I'm very good. I mean, I can keep the beat, but I'm very good at like ACDC. Kick snare, kick snare. Um,
No
but my
Phil
fingers do way
Rudd.
better.
No Phil
No
Rudd.
Phil Rudd. That is me. No Phil Bryan. Um,
Um,
but I play. I mean, mainly started out as a keyboard player. My grandfather taught me how to play, piano and organ, and that's where I originally, that's who gave me my whole musical basis.
but don't I
And then,
remember? I have a memory. I'm almost positive I can see you. If I was over at your house, and it was with, gosh, and I can't remember his name, but he was a guy. And we're going to bring up some cool stuff here in a minute. But he was a guy that we both used to know, and I can see you. Were you playing a, an electric guitar? Was it a no? I don't.
no,
No, that wasn't you.
I didn't get no, I didn't get into guitar until I moved to New York.
But did
Got
you
my
know how to
first acoustic.
play?
Maybe in my mind. No,
Okay. I thought we
no,
were. I thought it
I
was.
never picked one up.
I thought it was his guitar, and you were like he was playing something, and then you started playing it, like some bar chords, and
I
and
don't
and that
know.
was it. Yeah, we were like over it. I'm almost positive. We'll touch base on that again.
I mean, the way I learned music from my grandfather could play anything by ear. Couldn't read, he didn't read music.
Hmm.
He was in bands his whole life too, up until he passed away. His whole life, even at the retirement home, he played in the band.
Oh wow.
But he could play any any song, whether it's old or new. If you played it for him on on the radio or on a cassette or whatever, he could play it. He just sit down and start playing it, and that's how I learned. I just sat listening to the radio, and learned. I knew I was playing chords. I just didn't know what chords at that
I'm
time.
I'm gonna play a couple of parts of this next song. This is also a Bells into Machines song, and of all the material that you've sent me, kind of since we reconnected, this is probably the one I like the most. And so let me play this, and then we'll talk about it some more here on the other side. So let me get it going here.
I've traveled different countries. I've traveled in foreign lands. I found nobody to tell me what is the soul of man. I saw a crowd stand talking. I came out right on time. We're hearing the doctors and the lawyers say a man ain't nothing but his mind.
Every time I hear it, it's got such a great blend of with the slide in there, but the programming at the same time. It really does work well together. I do
Thank
like
you.
the little touch of the LP
Oh,
record needle thing.
I felt the scratch through the whole song. And actually, that's a real one of my records. Just letting it letting it play for about, I don't know, 10 seconds and looping it through the whole song.
Well, that's
So that is
that's
an actual real vinyl
well, that
scratch.
sounds good. Well, that's how we listen to stuff. That's how back in the
Yeah.
day. But I mean, that sounds really good. Do you guys ever like? I mean, when the lyrics are written, just he cool with whatever's written. Do you guys care about the content or what's said, or just kind of let him do what he does?
With every artist that we work with, whether it's our own stuff with
Mm-hmm.
Bells or Violet or Echo Range,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, it's up to the singer. I will not tell the singer what to sing. I mean, the whole thing about music is you have to believe what you're saying and singing,
That's true.
because if they don't if the singer doesn't believe it, how are they going to make the person listening believe it? So
That's well
we
said.
leave it up to we leave it up to the artist to whatever lyric they're feeling. And I don't think I've really ever said, nah, not really feeling that. Like,
Okay.
hey,
Let me bring up. So this is another project that you are working with, and tell me about this. And I know a little bit about it because I actually got to remix one of your songs. Um, but this is Echo Range. Tell me about Echo Range.
so Echo Range is Naomi Holtang, who is a badass, amazing singer, songwriter, guitar player. She's just amazing. She's a vocal teacher. She's got pipes that you wouldn't believe, but her sense of melody is amazing. So we hooked up with her, found her, and it's just her, Toby, and myself.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do was strong female fronted, alternative, sort of God, I hate to say this, but like a female Trent Reznor,
Okay.
which, you know, it's hard to, that's something that's, I mean, I can't really think of anything.
Sure.
But originally, how it came to be, Paul did a track with Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless,
Okay.
the band. So it's amazing. And we contacted management and said, hey, we want to do a project with Taylor Momsen. Well, she's like, they're busy. We got the royal blow off, which is fine. It is what it is. So that's when we went on the search and found Naomi. And what turned out, 3 to 5 song EP turned into a whole record, and a full record. And it's everything from alternative to industrial electronica to almost more alt pop.
Okay.
Because it's dark. Everything's got a darkness to it, but it's still all melodic. I mean, that's the basis for, especially me and Toby, is melody.
Well, she does great.
It's all about the song.
She does great melodies. I like her harmonies.
Those are all her. The melodies are all her.
When you kind of put the word out that day, you said, "Hey, looking for people to remix some tunes," and I did it. I kind of wanted to see some of her other stuff, and she does. She's got a lot of stuff out there. Naomi, right? Yeah. And let me play this clip here. This is a pretty good one. Let me cue this up here, and let's see what we think. Whoop. Yeah. Nope. See?
That's not Naomi.
I know. This is.
Yeah, this is very emotional.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Definitely pretty emotional. Great melody. Love the way she breaks into the falsetto thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, her head voice is amazing. I mean, she can belt, and her head voice is amazing too. But I mean, her sense of melody is just, that's what blew us away at the beginning, just her sense of melody.
And how did you guys contact her? How did you set that up?
The way I find almost every artist we work with now, it's called YouTube, and
I've heard of it.
Surf around. I'll type in
YouTube. You say
I'm looking for. Yes, YouTube. It's this thing. It's this cool thing. But I type in like what we're looking for. A female sound, alternative pop, whatever. Stuff comes up. I click on something. On the right hand side, all this other stuff comes up. Hour and 45 minutes later, I may find something cool. I mean, you have to, to find the diamond, you have to dig through, the crap. And I came across Naomi and was like, whoa. I'm like, really? And I started clicking on more of her stuff and some of the covers she's done. And I was kind of blown away and just found a contact for her and hit her up.
See, that's
told her who we are, what we do.
That's cool. I'm glad that
Yeah.
she responded. See, if I were to do that, somebody would just
Well,
call the cops.
what what's funny is I told her I laid it out the first thing. Here's who we are and here's what we are. And I laid down Toby's little, my partner Toby Wright, Metallica, Corn, Three Doors Down, blah 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 blah. So she said I didn't hear from her for like 3 weeks because she said she thought it was like full of shit.
Yeah,
So and then she finally hit me up, and then we you got on the phone and talked, and that was it.
but that's how it is too, man. I remember when I was back in Chicago, when I was in Usher House on Cleopatra Records, this guy approaches us cold, kind of, and says, "Yeah, I'd like to do a video." And I wasn't the first person they spoke to. He spoke to the singer, and the singer brought it to the rest of us. And I remember thinking, yeah, knock yourself out. Whatever he wants to do is fine. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, this is going to be nothing. We're going to show up. It's going to be some guy with a crappy 8 millimeter, film camera and that kind of 16 if we're lucky. And, it's just going to be nothing. So the guy came over and talked to us, kind of like, yeah, just kind of pitched some stuff he had done. And he had been this film guy in Australia, which made it even more like, get out of here. That's just not. So the day of the shoot, the guy pulls up in basically an 18-wheeler with like a crew of like 40 or 50 people, catered the whole thing like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
I've been bad mouthing this
Oh,
guy for
yeah.
like 3 weeks, and
You were
so
wrong.
yeah, I was wrong. So good for her that she actually took the lead,
Yeah.
because it sounds really, really good. Now, this other artist that you guys have been working with, now she is huge presence on YouTube. You said she's
She
from Brazil, right?
is Brazil. She is another one. Her melodies, her writing, her vocals are just soaring. I mean, her tone is very unique. Um, you know, uh, she gets compared to all the time, like on YouTube, they compare her to Amy Lee. I think she blows away Amy Lee,
Sure.
personally. Not being biased, I just think
No, I
she's
hear you. I hear you.
much better.
She's really
Um,
good.
yes, she is phenomenal.
And her name
I
is
mean, like,
Violet Orlandi. Am I saying that right?
yes,
Violet Orlandi. Let me play
yep,
a little bit of this clip. This song is called Number Nine. And now, so I mean, I guess in Brazil, there's not that big a time difference, but is it kind of the same thing? You guys are sending
yeah,
parts back and forth. You said she's the one that
yeah.
she has Pro Tools too. Is that
You know what? I don't know what she's using. To be honest with you, Toby does. I don't know what she's using. I just get she sends me files too, but I send her a song, and I'll say, hey, what do you think of this? And I don't hear back from her for about 2 hours, and then 2 hours later she goes, I already wrote the chorus. I'm just fixing the verse. I'm like, what? And
let
then she
me
sends it back, and it's like, whoa.
let me play this clip. This is an awesome tune. This song is called Number Nine, and I've been digging on this. Here it comes. First, I'm gonna turn the volume up. You got to be 10% smarter than the equipment you use here. So.
Open me like elevators fill the blood. You see, it's hiding underneath. Quietly, just like my mama used to sing to me. It stops, then it repeats. Buried deep inside of me, there's something you can't quite see. Bright red and freezing cold like the fire that doesn't burn. It feels like I'm burning inside. Seems like I've burned in my pride. Down, 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 down. Right in the circle, number nine.
Yeah, that's That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's something special.
That's like when I hear melodies like that, I think about, people can do imitate. People can, come up with whatever, but but when a vocalist can control and write melody, that's just as strong as the lyrics, that's a very special talent, and honestly, you just don't see it. Um, I don't think you see it. Not like the way you do with guitar players and keyboardists and things like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more rare.
Our partner Milton, who we did the country stuff with, was like, that is a gem you found.
No,
I'm like,
that's
yeah, I agree with you.
now, and I'm assuming that kind of came about the same way as before.
Same
You
way.
sought her out, and she said,
Yep.
yeah. With your, I'm going to play a clip, another clip here, just a sec here. Now, this is one of your uh, television movie. You also said this was used in like a video game soundtrack. This is AM Conspiracy. Tell me about
Yeah.
that.
So that was a project I did with Jason Jones, Gong, who was the singer from Drowning Pool.
Right.
But he was actually in one of my first bands
Okay.
back in LA, and then he went and did the thing with Drowning Pool, and then we sort of reconnected again and did this record. And I mean, I love the record. I wish it would have, got XM's rate squiz when there were two separate, it was
Yeah.
XM and
Right. Right.
Sirius.
Yeah.
XM played the shit out of a couple of the tracks, but other than that, I mean, it just didn't, the label we were with just didn't have the money to really promote it like I thought it should have been.
And that's. I
I
mean,
think,
how many tracks are like that where you know, that from groups that wrote really fabulously amazing music, and nobody has heard about it. Although you guys, this is a little bit different story because you guys got some recognition, but there's 1,000 for every one that doesn't have any
yeah,
recognition, and it's good, solid, well produced, well recorded music.
we had, yeah, I was a bum. We had a full record, 10 tracks. I mean, I was very proud of it, and God, it just did. I mean, it was like it was going in this trajectory, and then also it was like, you know, you know, this trajectory about this point here where you need about $500,000 for marketing and promo, um, just didn't happen. So I mean that when the sad thing is today there's great artists that unfortunately it takes an ass load of money to give yourself a fighting chance, to
It
give an
really
artist a
does
fighting
because
chance.
you've got to either somehow explode on YouTube, you've got to somehow explode on
Yeah,
social media, or you've got to have some serious money behind you.
well, those are the two things: going viral, which man, I don't know if it's my age or whatever. I don't know how the hell to do that.
Yeah,
I have no idea how to go
I don't
viral. And
think
then
it's
the
I don't
others,
think it's planned. I really don't think it's planned. When the most silly things can go viral, and I'm not knocking anybody's creativity or what they've done. And half the times, I get just as caught up with everybody else. When something goes viral, but it
yeah,
is really hard to predict. I mean,
yeah.
it's hard to
Well,
predict.
those are the things you have your going viral on whether it's YouTube or the social media, and then the
Hmm.
other side is you got the Taylor Swift side where you just funnel an ass load of money behind the
Sure.
project. Um,
Let me play
that's
this. This song is called "Right on Time." Let me see if I can do a better job of queuing this up. I did it. So those drums, real programmed. Who?
That is real. I was just thinking. The funniest thing is thinking back to when I wrote the song and had programmed drums on it. It did not sound like that. That's live drums. When you have a great drummer,
Yeah.
that's a drummer. Our drummer for Aim Conspiracy, Dean Andrews, amazing drummer too. Just changes everything. Our drummer Chris Rose, who's in the UK, I was telling you about, who does everything for Bells, for Violet, for Naomi. The track goes from this is a cool song to holy shit, the dude just changed the entire feel of the song.
No, and that's real.
When you have a really good drum, it's also not about being a good drummer. It's about having great sense of picking and choosing how to play around the vocals too,
Right.
not just the music, but playing around the vocals. And both those are the best drummers I work. And of all the drummers Toby's worked with too. I mean, he's worked the best.
Sure.
Whether it be Lars or well, I don't know if Lars is the best, but he's worked with amazing drummers.
He keeps a beat.
And,
he keeps a beat.
he keeps a beat. He's worked with some amazing drummers, and Chris, our drummer now, he's like one of the best he's ever worked with.
No,
He'll
he's
say that flat out.
he's awesome. There's a song, I don't have it queued up, but I do invite people to find it. It's actually the song that I remixed for Echo Range, but it was Hellhole. The rock version is he in that? Is he the drummer for that?
Which
You said
Hellhole?
yeah. There's this
That was
like
me. That was no.
the
no,
fast
that
part,
Hellhole's my finger.
the roll thing. Wow,
my fingers.
that's really good programming because that sounds organic.
That's programming. Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah,
organic.
that's all programmed.
Wow.
Well, the one thing, so I'll tell you what I do now for like the last almost 4 years now. No MIDI, none. I refuse to use it now.
Wow.
Everything's played live. I mean, I'll play it, and I'll go in and quantize things if it's
Sure.
drastically off. But for the most part, I don't care what it is: pianos, bass, even arpeggio. Like I'll come with arpeggiated line. I'll trigger it. I'll keep triggering it.
So you're recording
but-
actual sound and not MIDI data. Gotcha. No, that's
I'm not
awesome.
recording. Our recording. I mean, the only thing that sucks about it is you can't go back and go, okay, well, let's change the sound. It is what it is now.
Which I gotta say is a big deal. I use BFD for my drum tones. I just love it. It's a great program, and I do like being able to go back and going, you know what, that snare's not cutting it. And I know there's other ways you can do
Well,
that. You can trigger.
Yeah, we do drum replacement.
Yeah.
Drum replacement we do. That's totally different. But I'm saying like with the keyboard sound I sat and just, and tweaked out for the last, 20 minutes and then go play it down. That's it.
Well, for
Yeah,
those of us
if
who
I-
can't play, it's all about MIDI.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's all I used to use. Everything was MIDI, and now it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's just personal or you can hear it just a little. Or to me, I know I played it, and it gives a little bit. It's not quite on perfectly because
Sure.
we're human. We're not perfect.
right, and that's
We're not machines.
no, I that's true. And a lot of people, I remember the first MIDI player that I used was it's called Cakewalk by 12 Tones back when it was
Yeah, I remember Cakewalk.
when it was a DOS program, and it didn't do audio recording. It was just MIDI. And Robert and I from Usher House for one of the recordings, we recorded MIDI, but we went back by hand in the note editor and moved the timing around, just kind of randomly changed the timing of each note to give
Yeah.
it a little, human feel that I doubt anybody picked up on that we did.
Yeah, I know.
But it meant something to us. It made us feel good about the track.
Well, that's what for me. It makes me feel good. I'm like, okay, I played the whole song. I played the piano. Whatever it is. Even if it's for 4 bars and I looped it, I still played it.
So I wanna introduce a part of you that you say a lot of people don't know about.
Pretty much nobody.
And so I want to go back. I said I was going to do this, and I'm going to go back and do this. So Brian and I actually, not only did we go to school together, we actually used to train in gymnastics. Now, I'm not going to say together because we had the same coach, but I mean, I couldn't even dust your boots or socks or whatever the hell we wore back then. And
Short shorts.
short shorts. Oh my gosh. But you were, and I'm not, this is no exaggeration, and this is just so cool that this is kind of going to be a shock to some of your friends. You were a, I mean, you were a gymnast, a world class gymnast, and that's not an exaggeration, is it? I mean, that's not by any stretch.
No, I was on the U.S. team for, uh, well, I was on a junior team for like 4 years, and then on the U.S. team for 4 years, and World Championship team, Pan American team. We won Pan American game, won the American Cup, biggest meet of the year in '87. Came in second '86. I'm traveled the world competing for the U.S. team
And at one point,
through
you were 14th. Is that right? 14th.
in the world. Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember. I'll never forget this day. Um, I don't remember where it was, but wherever it was, I had a phone, and before cell phones, and my grandmother calls me up and says, "Turn on the TV on Channel 5 or whatever it was," and it was, holy cow! It was my old friend Brian duking it out with the
The
Soviets.
Russian. Yeah. Soviets. That's
I
right.
mean, and you were like in first or second place, and
And I screwed it up.
well, I mean, I guess that's, I'm sure it was a hard pill to swallow then, but for us mere mortals, just to have been there at all, and let me put this picture up, and kind of show people what we're talking about here. Let me find it. Here we go. So this is you. This is
Cover of USA Gymnastics magazine
That's
back
you
in the
on the
day.
parallel bars. That's the actually that's a little bit older than the Brian that I knew from back then, but I mean that's kind of a big deal, right? I mean that's
Yeah, that was my fresh. No, I was sophomore at UCLA. Guy competed for UCLA too. But yeah, that was the cover of USA Gymnastics after winning American Cup.
and
After that year, I beat the Russian. I beat Gogoladze.
is that what took you out of Mobile the first time was
Yeah,
to a higher level coach? Is that kind of
moved away from home at a stupid young age to go train in New York for a year, and then to Chicago
but like
to train.
unlike a lot of sports, maybe not like a lot of unlike a lot of sports, but there are gymnastics in particular. It's a young person's sport. I mean, you have to get in when you're young. You're at your best when you're young. It's not a there aren't, 35, 40-year-olds out there killing it in
Not a
gymnastics.
lot, not a
Um,
lot. I mean, I the problem with this stupid sport, it ruins your body.
it yeah. It,
I mean, it was the worst thing that could ever happen to my body. I mean, I broke every toe, every finger, um, this arm in three different places. Broke my ankle,
I mean,
dislocated this ankle
you
twice,
gave your body to
fractured
that.
fractured C6. I had four concussions, broke my nose three times. My shoulder still needs surgery on this one again.
And this is not
Um,
rugby we're talking about. This is gymnastics.
no,
There's
this is yeah,
I mean, this
it's a
is
horrible sport.
it's a hard on your body sport, but I gotta say,
Very.
I'm still a fan. I was very sad to hear when you know Kurt Thomas passed away.
Kurt, he was my
Um,
coach. Me and Charlie Lakes. He was before the Olympics. We trained with him for well, we were only there for about 6 months, and I can tell you, first of all, he changed American gymnastics. If it wasn't for him, he was the first world champion. He changed the face of it. But when we trained with him, I mean, there were days. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life, but there were days. I mean, multiple days of the week we puked
sure,
from training so
no
hard.
doubt,
I mean, he made us train our asses off.
but
That
it
dude know how
showed.
to work.
Let me show, and I may lose your audio just for a second. Let me show this. Um, and what I'm going to do
Oh
is
yeah,
play.
by the way, too, it's a different name if no one ever did notice.
Sure.
Anyone
This
doesn't
so
notice.
known by a different name, but it's still a family name. I just say
It's a family
Brian,
name. Yeah,
but I can verify that it's you.
that's me.
So I'm going to play this.
With
It's
hair.
actually a YouTube video, and it may try to make me go through the ad, so I'll try not to do that. But here we go. Let me get this queued up. And this is you on the parallel bars in 1986 at the.
This is the one I lost. Yeah, I lost to the Soviet in that one. Next year's when I won.
This is the one that I believe, I'm almost positive that when my grandmother called me, this was the event.
Here is Brian Ginsberg, our men's leader, coming into this rotation.
We've talked about how unfortunate it is that Tim Daggett had to drop out of the competition, but if he had to leave way for an American, this is the guy. Brian is a great exercise here. Interesting skill right at the beginning. Nice peach hand and a front giant, which you don't see very many of those. He'll get originality points for that.
Ooh.
Okay, a little bit over on his back giant. That'll cost him a couple of tens.
Ginsberg needs a 9-2 to jump into the lead. But still to come after him will be the Soviet. There's a great strength move.
Fantastic. A straddle plunge pressed to a handstand. Double back. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I know we've talked about it was a lifetime ago.
Lifetime ago.
And I just remember, and I'll just say this, I don't mind saying this. I remember when I was young, I was so in awe of you, of what you could do. It was just cool. And you were just this like normal kid otherwise who could do these amazing things. You weren't pretentious. You didn't brag about it. I mean, you were the best athlete at the school, and the school didn't even know it. And it was just, you were an easy person to be around. And yet I knew I was probably one of the few, well, except that the family that owned was it American School of Gymnastics?
Yeah, the Rushings.
Lisa Rushing?
Lisa Rushing, yeah.
She went to
Yeah.
St. Paul's, I believe. And
Did she?
I'm pretty sure she did. I think she did. I don't think Les did. I don't think her brother did, but I think Lisa did. But again, I felt like I was kind of privileged because I got to see this, part of the only time I think people really had a clue was when we did like push-ups and pull-ups day. And it's like, okay, Brian, that's, 57 pull-ups is a plenty. Just get down, and we're all like, but that was just amazing stuff. And my grandmother freaking loved you, man. She just thought you were the best.
That's funny.
She followed your career, man. I sent you those clippings and stuff that she just kept like a little scrapbook. Let me play this other clip. And this is awesome too. I feel like that the high bar was always my favorite event. High bar and floor were the two things that I personally liked the most.
Well, this was like, in the Soviet time and Cold War, this is like Rocky. The U.S., we never beat the Soviets. We got our asses whooped whether it was World Championships, whatever, USA versus USSR, the Belgian Cup, wherever we went to, the Soviets always won. So actually, finally, me or as Americans who beating Soviet in like the biggest meet of the year was like, that felt really, really good at the time.
Let me play this.
For our country, not just for me, but
no,
it was awesome.
Let me play this. This is a great routine here. Here we go.
This year, starting 1987, is just superb in terms of the U.S. chances in the Pan Ams and in the World Championships. So now he's cheering for his teammate, Brian Ginsberg. His parents looking on. You can see a little anxiety there, especially in Dad working the hands over, and up he goes.
Brian knows right now that he has to do the best he's ever done in his life on this event. There's a full twisting one-arm giant swing. Here's a pirouette. There's a one-arm ginger. Okay, he was in a little close, but there was where the problem was yesterday, and today it looked great. Nice ginger. So far, this routine is excellent. Okay, it's all going to come down to whether he nails this landing. Nice. 1, 2, 3, triple back. That's it. I'll bet you that's our champion.
That is just awesome, man. That is just awesome. That takes me back.
That felt good. That one felt good.
You planted that. You planted that, and I just think it's kind of cool that there's going to be people after they watch this, they're going to be like, "What? The rock guy, the musician guy?"
There's a line here, and that was that life, and then music was this life.
There and there's a lot.
Now they've intertwined, and they're one life now.
Well, I'm glad I got to be the one to spill the beans.
My thing too was it was like after once you retire from the sports, like God, I knew so many athletes. I don't care who it was, like from Carl Lewis to athletes that I had met through sport, big athletes, Greg Louganis, big name athletes, and basketball players. They all want to be musicians, and then they want to, it's back and forth. A musician wants to, the athlete thing, and the athlete wants to be a musician. But all these, athletes that want to go into music, and I was like, man, that's just such a cheesy thing, and I just wanted to separate it completely, a whole separate life. And it took me a long time to just go, who gives a shit?
Well, I'm glad you let me play those video clips. I was really looking forward to it. One more thing before we start winding down here, another thing that you do that I find just amazing is your love for taking care of animals. You have
a sanctuary.
You do. You have what is essentially a small rescue farm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some pictures, and while I do that, just kind of talk about it a little bit. Let me find the picture here. I gotta let me get this pulled up, and we'll start with these guys here. Tell me what we're looking at.
Our two sheep that were rescued, the mini, and our rescue dogs back there too, and the goat. Oh, Zach, the goat's back there.
And Zach,
they're hanging out on the front porch.
Zach is the goat of goats. For those of you who don't know, he needs his own YouTube channel.
He does.
I'm just saying. And there's Zach. There's Zach doing in the house, just checking stuff out. And what's so weird is I see this, and somehow it just doesn't look wrong to me.
If you told me, a decade ago, this would be my life, I'd be like, yeah, right. But I wouldn't change it or anything.
This is awesome.
Animals are awesome.
And this is
my Axel.
Axel.
My buddy Axel. My failed police dog.
Failed.
Yeah.
We have a German Shepherd. His name is Bodie, and Bodie is like super reactive. He's totally scared of his own shadow. He's just this totally vicious looking dog, but he is the biggest.
Same thing.
There's this little gosh, I'm not sure what he is. He lives next door. He's about this big. His name is Panzer. And Bodie, who looks a lot like Axel, is just freaking terrified. Let me bring up this next picture here. This is one of my, you have a bunch of pictures like this, but this is one of my favorite kind of pictures that you have, where Zach, what is it with Zach on the table?
He actually, what's funny is that is no longer a table. He's used it for so many years as his throne. It finally broke. The picnic table was his. Yeah, so we need to get him a new picnic table.
You need to get him a new picnic table.
Yes.
Let's see, what do we have here? So this is, again...
And that is Gunpowder, our alpha horse, in the house at the dining room table.
And it just doesn't seem wrong to me. No. But it should be. This should be wrong. Now, this isn't all... I mean, and these guys here. Now, having said that, I mean, these are some of your horses. Yeah. There's a little bit of heartbreak with some of this, right? I mean, we've buried too many horses. Well, I mean, not too many, but like 5 or 6 of them over the last 7 years. Now, do these guys come to you just abandoned? They don't have room, or are they abused, or what's the...
All of the above. All of the above. Got some that have been abused and abandoned, and I mean, most of them have great stories and endings. We find, they've gone to great homes. The ones that can't they're here. They're all permanent residents.
Sure.
But yeah, we've had to bury some, and then like every day somehow we lose chickens to hawks. So it's like we're losing something every day.
What briefly, or not briefly, maybe, what of each animal do you have? What do you currently have right now?
Horses,
Okay.
big and mini, sheep, goat, chickens, turkeys, peacocks, guineas, and Rupert, our 3,000-pound dog. He's a steer. He was going to be hamburgers and brisket, but now he's just a big old giant dog.
It's like all of your animals are big giant
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh,
It's
and then we have, I think, 6 dogs and a couple cats too. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
that's like, by the time all those animals that you just listed, by the time you feed, water, vet care, all that stuff, that's like 28 hours. How do you? That's like more
It's
than a day.
actually I have it down to a science. Like literally, the horse feeding, I have it down to 15 minutes.
Now you-
It's not that big a deal.
You have a child. You have a daughter, and is she?
Yes.
Does she help with this? Is she good with
Yeah,
the
sure.
animals?
She's great. She's a trick rider.
And
She
yeah,
does trick riding. And
but she
she's
helps with
amazing.
Does she help with the care and the
Yeah.
feeding and all that?
Yeah, she's really good with horses.
Good.
She's a horse whisperer. Yeah.
Well, that's
But,
just
it's easy. It's worth it, and it's not a chore. I don't consider it a chore. I don't
Sure.
want to go, oh God, I got to go feed everybody. I get up 5:36 in the morning to go let the chickens out, feed all the birds, make sure the dogs are walking, all that stuff, and it's just I have no problem doing it. I like it.
Well, Brian,
the animals are all therapists.
they are. I mean, they really are. We've got.
They
I
are.
mean, my 2 dogs and 2 cats really don't seem like a lot. You said that. And I can't honestly say they have never felt like a chore, but it's they are like therapists. They are at our house anyway.
Absolutely.
We speak to them like they're people, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yes.
but we do.
I talk to Zach like he's not like a dog, like he's a human. Hey Zach, how you doing? Come on, buddy.
Well, Zach's
He's
different.
my little buddy.
Zach is
Yeah,
different.
he is different. I
Zach
think
is
I think he's an alien.
he
He's
is
trapped
next
in a goat's
level.
body.
Zach
Yes,
is
he
definitely next level. Well, Brian, thanks for doing this. Holy cow, musician, writer, engineer, producer, world-class athlete, animal protector, taker-inner guy.
Poop
Holy
cleaner.
cow. I mean, that's
Poop
just
cleaner.
that's just a lot. And your story to me is just fascinating, and
I appreciate that.
I'm glad I'm your friend, but even if I didn't know you,
Absolutely.
I'd be like, holy crap, that guy does a lot of cool stuff.
Either that or he's really weird.
Well, I think it's not mutually exclusive. I'm just gonna be honest
No,
with you.
that's not.
You
No,
can be.
well, musicians are weird. You got to
You-
be weird to be a musician.
Yeah, and you do have to have. There is something wrong with people.
No, there's a missing a synapses that doesn't
Just it's
fire.
either, it doesn't fire. It fires too much. I'm not sure which it is, but
I don't know which one it is either.
I feel like though, and I said this actually to a previous person, is just that in in times like this though, music and art and all those kind of things, it's either reflecting the times or people are seeking comfort in their art and their music or their animals, or the people who aren't necessarily world-class athletes, but they're into exercise and fitness and all of these things provide comfort for people. And so
Absolutely.
I think it's cool when people get to see people like you to go, hey, he's out there doing it. He's doing his thing, and maybe I could try to do my thing, and so
Absolutely.
that's the message here, I think. And I hope that's the message that
Absolutely.
people take home. So, well, Brian, I'm going to say goodnight. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play one of your songs all the way out so people can hear the whole song.
Cool.
And that is The Soul of a Man. But I'm going to say goodnight. And hopefully come back and do this again. But I'm
Totally.
going to say goodnight. Have a good one.
Thank you, Ivan. I had a great time.
Talk to you
It was
later.
awesome. All right.
So yeah, so that's Brian Diemar, and holy cow, what a lot of things that he's done. I mean, that's just really cool, and a fascinating life with a lot of depth and content is what I would say. So again, the message here is if there's something you want to do it. Don't hold back. Don't put up barriers in front of yourself. Keep trying. Find that thing that you like and just do it. Don't be afraid to fail. If you fail, you fail. Whoop-de-doo. Just keep trying. So I am gonna go ahead and end tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. For those of you who are going to watch the recording of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of Brian's songs. I'm actually going to bring up his webpage for Bells into Machines, and then you guys can kind of see the webpage and certainly follow him, buy his stuff, Bells into Machines, Echo Range. It's all good music. It's all great music. So I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks for tuning in, and looking forward to doing this again.
I've traveled different countries. I've traveled in foreign lands. I found nobody to tell me what is the soul of man. I saw a crowd stand talking. I came out right on time. We're hearing the doctors and the lawyers say a man ain't nothing but his mind. I read the good book often. I tries to read it right. As far as I can understand, the man is more than his mind. When he stood in the temple, the people stood amazed. He's showing the doctors and the lawyers how to raise a body from the grave. Won't somebody tell me? Answer if you can. Won't somebody tell me what is the soul of man? Come on and ask the question. Answer if you can. If anybody here could tell me what is the soul of man? I've traveled in different countries. I've traveled in foreign lands. Found nobody to tell me what is the soul of man. I saw a crowd stand talking. I came up right on time. We're hearing the doctor and the lawyers say a man ain't nothing but his mind. Somebody tell me